je me lance et je repars en arrière. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime, t'aime, t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime, t'aime, t'aime. T'es le oui, le non que je prends en pleine face. Un sniff, une toffe avant l'épitaphe.
Fala galera, bem-vindos a mais um episódio de Sonoridades. Hoje a gente está internacional, um bate-papo maravilhoso com a cantora franco-libanesa Yara Lapidus, que passou pelo Brasil agora no final de janeiro e começo de fevereiro, no Festival da Semana Internacional de Música. Ela veio apresentar as novidades do disco dela, a gente conversou sobre tudo e mais um pouco. Confira aí. So, thanks so much for the interview. Merci beaucoup. The first question is a little bit obvious, but it's about your shows here in São Paulo. About is under the Semana Internacional de Música, né? So, how are the expectations for these concerts?
Well, I'm playing for the first time here in Brazil, and I'm very excited about that. I worked with brilliant musicians, and looking forward to it. I hope you will be there. No, you won't be there because you're on Skype.
Yeah. But I'll try.
I hope next time you will be able to make it.
Yeah. One thing interesting on this concert is because you're going to present your new album, Back to Colors.
Yes.
With a great album, singing in at least 4 languages: French, Spanish, English, and Arabic. I think I'm correct.
Yes, it is. And a little bit Brasileiro, a little bit Português.
Yeah. And on each song, you kind of mix a pre-adaptation of what you want to express in that language. So how the idea came up, how this construction came up in your mind?
For which song? The whole album, you mean?
Yeah.
Actually, it's a little bit in opposition to my previous record, Indéfiniment, who was totally drenched with melancholy, with this images in black and white, and it's in opposition to that. You see, I'm wearing colors today, and I wanted something that looks more like me, the way of my living, because I like to mix with many cultures. I have friends of many origins. I'm not afraid to speak a language that I don't really speak well. I don't care. The most important for me is to try to create links between the people I meet, professional wise or personal wise, and it was a way to see that we can find a bridge between pop, rock, French, and Oriental sounds. This was the main target for me in Back to Colors, and if you liked it, then it was a good work.
Yeah, and it's a great album, and you have this partnership with Chico César.
Yes.
L'amour, c'est la vie, where you have bossa nova, MPB, and kind of electropop from Europe, a little bit of Arabic. So, how was to work again with Chico?
Oh, Chico, this is my second collaboration with him. And but this time was very special because he started writing the melodies, and then I wrote the lyrics, and then we mixed up our 2 voices. Whereas for the first song, I invited him on a previous song that I made. So this one was more made by Chico, I would say. And it's always a pleasure to work with him because he's such a great artist, but also a wonderful human being.
And he's gonna play with you today?
No, unfortunately not. He's very busy touring.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna ask this in French because it sounds so many good in French. So, l'amour, c'est la vie?
L'amour, c'est la vie. Yeah, I used the Spanish word, l'amor. I don't know if in Portuguese you say l'amor?
Amor.
Okay. Amour. Okay.
Yeah. So, c'est la vie.
C'est la
vie.
Exactly.
And you have another song on this album, which is "Rest in Peace," because
Really.
it's a song about death, but also about celebration of life.
Exactly, because this is the way, because I always write my lyrics, and I love to talk about serious topics, but in a cool way. I don't like to be heavy. I don't like to make people cry. I mean, I think people are smart enough to understand that even when death, it's the only thing in life that you can't fight against. If it has to happen, it happens. But for me, maybe it's because I grew up in a country during the war in Beirut, so I immediately understand that life and death are hand in hand, because you can die. I mean, I can just speak to you now and die while I'm crossing the street. So it's terrible, but I don't say that it's joyful, but it doesn't depend on me, it doesn't depend on you. So it's something that we should totally accept if this happens. So it was a joyful way for me to show that I'm accepting it. So that's why I called very young dancers to do this choreography. I don't know if you saw the clip.
Yeah,
So
I saw it.
it was quite challenging for me, but I was happy. I'm quite proud of it, because this is the way I see life, actually, and this is the way I see death, because for me, nothing ends.
Envahira les ondes, ce sera pas un drame, RIP sur Instagram. Iggy Pop vous chantera, redis-moi encore, de tout là où je répondrai, je t'aime à la vie, à la mort. Kralım Mekke'ye ben, yaptığını bitirdim,
Yeah, and something interesting on this video and with the song "L'amour, la vie" and "Rest in Pieces," you have love on this video, love for life,
Yes.
love for dance, love for celebration
Yes.
of what we accomplished. So it's a great video. It's a great song.
I'm happy you like it.
Yeah, and you have "Rocking Chair."
A rocking chair also celebrates life. You know what is
Yeah.
it? Because life is like this. I mean, you feel like everything's cool, and then all of a sudden you go back. Maybe it's my philosophy. It's my way of thinking that I'm trying to put here and there in my words.
la vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime, t'aime, t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime, t'aime, t'aime.
This question is a little bit philosophical because on this song you have a lot of joyful melodies. You have orchestrations. You have, I think you have the full version of Yara. You have a lot of Yaras on this album. Is correct?
Exactly.
So how do you work with a lot of Yaras? I mean, how to condensate these in one album?
You know what? Maybe I have 20 Yaras in me, so I try to calm them down because I'm very hyper, all my mind is always moving and I have a lot of imagination. You could tell me any topic and tell me, Yara, write a song on it. I could find the right and smart angle to get to it. So because I really love writing, I really love the idea of creating from scratch a song. And the time we spend in studio creating this is for me the best part of it.
And how were the recordings of this album?
It was during COVID. We went to Belgium because usually I record in London. The last one was in Abbey Road Studios in London. This one was at ICP Studio in Belgium. It was quite hectic during COVID. It was difficult because we had also many musicians playing the chords. And so they were wearing masks. I remember it was a quite weird period, but nobody got sick. And it was magic. It was really magical to do something while everybody was locked down. And it was a bit challenging for me, but I'm not afraid of challenges. I must say I love them.
Yeah, I can say that because looking back to your discography, in the first album, Yara, when you're trying to identify yourself as an artist, and then you go to Indefiniment when you have all the melancholy and you have partnerships with guys like Iggy Pop, and then you release Back to Color. It's a joyful album. It's have a lot of songs that celebrates your career, your challenges of life. So it's quite of interesting how you deal with your challenges.
Yes, I mean it's a daily. I mean I wake up every day, and I think like I have to jump. I don't know how to say. I know the word in French, saut d'obstacle. You know when a horse needs to jump the obstacles. This is the story of my life. I mean I wake up in the morning and I always have problems that I need to solve, and that's it. I mean I'm used to it. It's okay.
Yeah. So going back to English Mom. You have Iggy Pop working with you. So how this idea came up of having Iggy Pop to record on Abbey Road? Do you like the result?
Oh yeah, I mean it's quite different. You see, the sound is quite different. It was more orchestral, more laid back, because it was corresponding. This mood of Indéfiniment was more corresponding to my own experience, because I had a problem. You know, I had a bad surgery who ended up with a dead arm. You know, so I can't use my fingers anymore. I used to play guitar and blah blah blah. So it was that time, and I was really very sad inside, very melancholic. So the only songs I wrote, although they were love songs, but they were really sad, you know. So it was a period of my life that I don't, of course, I don't regret anything, but it's part of my journey. So, but when I decided to, it was for the music Encore, which was, all the songs were original, except the melody of Encore, which was the melody of the movie 37-2 le matin, which had a huge, was a big movie with big results in 1986, I think. And the melody was so moving, so I told to Gabriel Yara, the composer, I would love to, because he was the one composing Indéfiniment, so I told him I would love to sing on this melody. He said, okay, let's do it. So you'll be the first one to put your words on it. And when I sang it, I was not very happy, because for me it's a love song and you have to sing it with a guy. So when I wanted to do the new edition, of course I was dreaming of having someone like Iggy Pop, but I couldn't expect that this would happen. And I met his, I didn't know that he was his tour manager. And I was talking to him and I told him I'm looking for someone with this beautiful voice, but of course I didn't expect someone like Iggy. And he said, you know what, I think it could really, you could really match with Iggy. So he said, send him an email and we see what happens. So I remember what exactly I wrote to him. I sent him the lyrics telling him, maybe you could be tempted, Iggy. And so he loved the song. He answered with the text. He texted telling, of course, I want to sing it with you. Let's do it in French. Let's do it in English. Come to Miami. And it was so simple after. This is the magic of rock music.
Yeah, it's a great song. And it's like stuck in your head, and when you realize you're singing and you're just, you know.
Yeah.
Je veux te garder tout contre moi, 100 000 secondes.
Le temps ne pourra rien contre nous. Nos cœurs se fondent. Dans les étoiles, nos prénoms sont écrits.
Yeah, it's a great song. And also have Just a Dream Away. It's a great album. And it was on this album you have your first partnership with Chico.
Yeah, I think the English version, yeah.
So how was this approach with Chico, the first approach with Chico?
It was, I mean, I always said to Eric, the manager I work with, that my dream, because my name is Brazilian, that my dream is to work with a Brazilian artist like Chico. So he found the right person who knew him. We sent him the track Saudade Debochée, that was 3 years ago for the album Indéfiniment, and he immediately loved the song. And he said, yeah, I would do this duet with you. So I would say I'm lucky enough, and I hope it will continue.
And you have to choose another Brazilian musician, another Brazilian singer to do a partnership with. Who would it be and why?
Maybe you won't believe me because it's totally not my musical background. I would say Emicida.
Whoa!
Yes.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And why? And why?
Because I like once again I like the idea of finding bridges between universe that were not supposed to meet. You see what I mean? For example, I mean he would never maybe listen to my song. I would never. But nothing is expected. I like unexpected things. I'm sure when two artists are true and authentic, although they have different visions, I like the idea of finding a way to work together and create this bridge again between Brazil and France and Orient, because with me it's always.
This is a little trick question. Do you have any regrets in your career?
Regrets. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
When I was 19 years old, I was harassed by a guy who wanted me to. I knew who he was. He was the biggest agent in the world of cinema, and he followed me for maybe 1 year and a half. I was going out from the school, fashion design school. He would follow me. Please, would you come to my agency? I would like you to be a comedian. I said, no. And at that time, I was very snobbish. I was terrible, I was very arrogant. How would you say? You say arrogant? I was very arrogant, I was young, and I thought that, I don't know. I was really crazy. And this is maybe my biggest regret, because I knew who he was. And then, you know what? I met him maybe 10 years after. And he said, I never forgot you, Yara. So it's crazy. I felt so stupid after. But this is youth. When you are young, you make mistakes. And even old, you can make mistakes too. So, but it's good to accept them. Because if you don't accept your mistakes, then you have to go to see a psychotherapist, because you need to accept your mistakes. It's the only way to grow up. It's the only way to go. Yeah.
Since you talk about youth, what do you think the youth Yara would say to this version of Yara, and this version of Yara would say to her youth Yara?
The very young Yara would say that when she was young, when Yara young was more calm, was more scared, was more, unconfident. This is the weird thing about it. And old Yara now is like a kid in her mind. So it's really weird. I have now the mind I should have had when I was 19. And at the age of 19, I had this brain and this, maybe because of the war, because of the dangers I used to live through. And so I was very mature, and I was very so it's crazy.
And if you have to choose a song to encapsulate your entire career, which song would it be and why?
Of my songs?
Yeah.
My favorite one, maybe the one that looks more like me, I would say it's Depuis Toi. Depuis Toi, from the record Indéfiniment. I did this beautiful version with this Palestinian oud player, very famous from the trio Gibran, Adnan Gibran, because this song, for me, is like a James Bond track, because you have everything in it. You have love, you have strength, you have passion, you have violence, and then you have something very smooth. So it's barely about all emotions, and maybe this one that that fits with my work most. Yeah.
And since we talk about James Bond, would you love to be a Bond girl?
Oh yes, that was my dream when I was, yeah. Why not? Of course, yes.
And would you like to have a song on James Bond track? This book?
Yes, definitely Depuis Toi. For me, each time I hear it, I say, my God, this could, because I have the English version that was never released. Maybe it was released in Just a Dream Away. I don't know. I don't remember. So it's really an amazing song. So yeah, I don't know if you have an idea how to send my track to the music supervisor of James Bond. But let's do it.
We'll try. You can try. You can try.
Depuis toi, plus rien, de rien, plus rien, de rien ne tient debout. Tout en moi me parle de toi. C'est ma voix qui déraille et qui se noue.
And you release Única Beirut, this is
Yeah.
correct, on this album, on Back to Colors, I think.
Yeah.
And How Kif, it's a Arabic version of a song from John Lennon. So
Yeah,
you have this humanitarian size of a career. So what can you say about it?
Única Beirut was born the night of August 4th when I was in Paris and I saw my native city exploding. So it was such a shock for me. So the only word that I would say before going to bed were Única Beirut, which means rise up Beirut. So the idea came up to immediately write something because, you know, as artists, we need to express ourselves. I'm not a politician. I cannot take a mic to give politic advice. I would be the worst person for this. But what I can do is do something with my art. So this is what I did. So I contacted the Lebanese Red Cross and I told them I'm going to do the song. Would you accept to? They say, yeah, sure, of course, let's do it. So I did this and I'm trying to get funds for the Lebanese Red Cross. But as you see now, it worked quite well. But now on Spotify or Deezer, people, they prefer to not to buy the song. Although I did many on my Instagram, so many posts asking people, it's only €1.29 for the Lebanese Red Cross. Please do it. But people prefer, of course, to listen for free. They don't always understand the right message behind, but it's okay. I'm going to do again a remix to try to see if it can. Also here in Brazil, there's a lot of Lebanese community. Maybe we can do something. I was speaking about that with the Lebanese consul yesterday.
يا مكان بلد الحنان بلدي لبنان يا مكان أرز وعطور سلام شو حلو الأيام معك يا
And about the song, Lennon song, How Kif, I always dreamt to adapt Lennon's song in Arabic. It was quite a challenge because it's very difficult. It took me like 6 months to have the okay. But as you know me a little bit now, I took it for granted in my mind and I went to Los Angeles and I recorded the track as if the okay was obvious. So I provoked it, and this is what happened because the day I was supposed to come back, I had the okay, and it was quite interesting. I mean, to have this in Lebanese.
Yeah, and became two beautiful versions and two beautiful choices of songs.
Thank you.
And was real emotional.
Thank you.
Well. And this will be our last question. So what are your future plans for 2023 and the years go on?
Now, after Brazil, I have a project for a concert at the Grand Palais in France, which is an art space, but 90% I would sing there. And then I have an EP. I'm working on an EP with only my Oriental sounds because I'm doing it in collaboration with l'Institut du Monde Arabe, which is a beautiful building in Paris, dedicated to all Oriental sounds. And I am trying to create this EP as soon as I come back with some tracks that you already know, but with new versions, new collaborations, new musicians, new sounds, and as usual, life goes on. And I hope to come back to Brazil in 2023. This is my dream.
Please. We enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Well, Yara, thanks so much. Merci beaucoup
Much.
pour ce temps.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Obrigada. Same for me.
And sorry for my French.
Sorry for my Portuguese is even worse. So.
No, it's okay. It's because I speak French, but I don't process in French. So.
Same for me.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Maurizio.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
T'es le oui, le non que je donne aux choses, le 9 Florence au cou de mes errances, la tuile, la chance, les lendemains qui dansent dans la rosée des petits riens. La vie trouve son matin. La vie rocking chair. Je me lance et je repars en arrière. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. T'es le oui, le non que je prends en pleine face. Un sniff, une toffe avant l'épitaphe. La plume, le vent, mon instant présent. Dans la rosée des petits riens, la vie trouve son matin. La vie rocking chair. Je me lance et je repars en arrière. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. Je te croque, je te mords. Allez viens, on prend l'escalator. Je te croque, je te mords. Il y a une vie avant la mort. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam. Comme je t'aime. La vie, rien que pour toi, mon cœur bat comme un tam-tam.